Welcome to the South Ops Fire Weather Webcast for Wednesday, July 1st. I'm your host, Kristen Stewart. It may be the first day of July, but June gloom continues to have a firm grip on coastal California and just won't seem to let go. The persistent, unseasonably deep trough that we have been dealing with lately remains in place over the western U.S. this morning, keeping the marine layer very deep. Low clouds have spread far into most of the lower coastal slopes and are even on the doorstep of the deserts. Now that's what I call June gloom, or rather no sky July at this point. Clearing will continue to be quite sluggish and patchy. Most inland areas will fully clear, though it will take several hours. Aside from these clouds, it should be a bright and sunny day across most areas, with cooler than average temperatures as we start the second half of the calendar year. A very mundane weather pattern is expected to continue through this first week of July, and potentially a bit longer as well. We will finish up this work week in a much more spring-like pattern as the persistent, unseasonably deep trough over the western U.S. remains in place for a couple more days. This will keep temperatures on the cooler side alongside a deep marine layer and breezy onshore flow. High pressure will then become re-established over the western U.S. this weekend into early next week, but it will remain on the weaker side. Temperatures will warm back up and the marine layer will shrink, but it will not lead to any significant impacts. That will be great news as we approach the Independence Day holiday weekend. Bottom line up front, we are not expecting any major fire weather-related issues for the holiday. Temperatures across the region will remain below seasonal averages through the end of the work week, with 80s common across the valleys, except around 90 for the San Joaquin Valley, 70s closer to the coast, and 100 to 105 for the low desert. Alongside these cooler temperatures will be the continuation of breezy westerly winds across the interior, particularly for the deserts and adjacent slopes. Temperatures will gradually warm back up this weekend into early next week as weak high pressure returns, though highs will only rise back up to around or just above seasonal averages region-wide, with more widespread 90s in the valleys and around 110 for the low desert. This pattern will give way to a much more comfortable 4th of July holiday, with no extreme heat expected. Even beyond the 7-day forecast period, there are no signs of any extreme heat developing, which is great news for keeping our fire potential more muted as we move later into the summer. A deep marine layer will remain prevalent for the next few days, with night through morning low clouds expanding into many of the lower coastal slopes, with slow, patchy clearing. The marine layer will become shallower with better clearing as we move into the weekend and next week, though it will still remain prevalent across the coastal plains. Humidity will remain low away from the marine influence, with minimums commonly in the teens to mid-20s across the interior each day, except single digits in teens for the deserts. This extended period of cool weather and a deep marine layer has kept our dead fuel moistures running above average and ERCs below average. These unseasonable conditions have allowed our area-wide large fire probability to lower back down into the low category, which is well below where we should be at this time of year. Of course, there remains some conditional fire spread potential across the interior, especially the deserts, due to the breezy and drier conditions there. Though concerns should largely be confined to light fuels and single burn periods on well-aligned starts. Fire potential will slowly trend upward this weekend into next week as we warm up, with an increase in initial attack activity likely due to the holiday. Though with the lack of any extreme heat or dryness, and with our fire danger indices being reduced, we are not expecting any major fire-related issues. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Our next webcast will be on Thursday, July 2nd. Have a fantastic day.